Welcome to Jersey Reads the Classics, an audiobook podcast delving into the finest works of our literary masters. Unfortunately, it's read by this woman.
What the hell? Who cares? Let's go on an adventure.
Hello, and welcome back to Jersey Reads the Classics with your host with the most, Rosie DeCandia. So we are going to proceed to the next chapter. As you all know, if you've watched my other videos, I don't recap the other chapters. So you got to watch the other videos, okay? Follow along. So we're going to go on to chapter 5, and we are reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. We begin with chapter 5. Advice from the caterpillar. The caterpillar and Alice looked at each other for some time in silence. At last, the caterpillar took the hookah out of its mouth and addressed her in a languid, sleepy voice. I do like that word, languid. I do love many words in the English language. And did you ever notice you have a word that you really love? One of my favorites is the word facetious. Like, are you being facetious with me, or don't be facetious? And what's interesting about that word, fun fact that you can crack this out in a party and feel like, you know, you're Jeopardy smart. All the vowels are spelled in order in the word facetious, right? Facetious, facetious. And now you, who's smarter than you? Let's be honest, people. You're reading a classic, Alice in Wonderland, and now you know fun facts about some words in the English language. And the hookah thing. Once again, do writers write what they know? Supposedly Lewis Carroll wasn't smoking the opium or whatever, but I have a question. We right here in front of our faces boldly have a caterpillar smoking a hookah. Okay, that's all I'm going to say right now about that. Right? Okay. But anyway, there's a hookah. Okay. All right. Who are you? Said the caterpillar. Oy, this was not an encouraging opening for a conversation. Alice replied rather shyly, I hardly know, sir, just at present. At least I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I think I must have been changed several times since then. What do you mean by that? Said the caterpillar sternly. Explain yourself. How rude. First he's smoking a hookah. Then he doesn't even offer her any, which I know she's a kid, so he obviously knows she's young and she's not supposed to have the hookah. And then he's getting kind of bitchy with her. I mean, the girl is going through something. Be kind. And I would think actually he wouldn't be kind of bitchy considering he's like on dope. Isn't that what's going on here? I don't know. Whatever. Don't do dope. Whatever. Because he's just not nice. Okay. I can't explain myself. I'm afraid, sir, said Alice, because I'm not myself, you see? I don't see, said the caterpillar. I'm afraid I can't put it more clearly, Alice replied very politely, for I can't understand it myself to begin with, and being so many different sizes in a day is very confusing. Tried in a lifetime. Oh my God, for all you girls out there, have you had do you have jeans that range from like a size whatever to like you have like 8 different sizes of clothing? I mean, welcome to the world of being a female. I mean, we can change sizes in the course of a day just with water weight alone. All right, I guess, you know, no one ever really wants to hear that. But it's a plight. It's a plight, my friends. I don't care what anybody says. It isn't, said the caterpillar. It wasn't that kind of interesting. Well, perhaps you haven't found it so yet, said Alice. But when you have to turn into a chrysalis, you will someday, you know, and then after that into a butterfly, I should think you'll feel it a little queer, won't you? Not a bit, said the caterpillar. Fun fact, and I'll start interrupting. But I love butterflies because they're a symbol of transformation. Hello, the chrysalis. They go from the chrysalis to whatever stage to become the beautiful butterfly, and they fly off and do their thing and give us so much joy. I have a butterfly tattoo. Yes, a monarch, a beautiful orange monarch tattoo on my, I think it's right hip. I can't remember. I have 3 tattoos in all. But that was a fun fact. You know, maybe I'll give you a fun fact with each rest of the chapter. I don't know. I'll see how it moves me. Okay. Let's go. All right, I'll try to stop interfering. Well, perhaps your feelings may be different, said Alice. All I know is it would feel very queer to me. You, said the caterpillar contemptuously. Who are you? Which brought them back again to the beginning of the conversation. Alice felt a little irritated at the caterpillars making such very short remarks, and she drew herself up and said very gravely, I think you ought to tell me who you are first. Why? Said the caterpillar. It was another puzzling question, and as Alice could not think of any good reason, and as the caterpillar seemed to be in a very unpleasant state of mind, she turned away. Come back, the caterpillar called after her. I've something important to say. This sounded promising, certainly. Alice turned and came back again. Keep your temper, said the caterpillar. Is that all? Said Alice, swallowing down her anger as well as she could. No, said the caterpillar. Alice thought she might as well wait, as she had nothing else to do. And perhaps, after all, it might tell us something worth hearing. For some minutes it puffed away without speaking, but at last it unfolded its arms, took the hookah out of its mouth, and said, So, you think you changed, do you? Oh, great. So now we'll be learning that with the hookah, he's calm, cool, but he's really not collected. And now he's going to be giving pearls of wisdom. So now he's going to go into his deep place and challenge Alice about her changing. Let's see. Is it all due to the hookah? I don't know. Wacky weed, wacky weed. Okay. I'm afraid I am, sir, said Alice. I can't remember things as I used. And I don't keep the same size for 10 minutes together. Can't remember what things, said the caterpillar. Well, I've tried to say how doth the little busy bee, but it all came out different, Alice replied in a very melancholy voice. Repeat. You are old, Father William, said the caterpillar. Alice folded her hands and began. This is quite a long poem, so bear with me. I'll try to make it interesting. You are old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white, and yet incessantly stands on your head. Do you think, at your age, is it right? In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it might injure the brain, but now that I'm perfectly sure I have none, why, I do it again and again. You are old, said the youth, as I mentioned before, and have grown most uncommonly fat. Yet you turned a back somersault in at the door. Pray, what is the reason for that? In my youth, said the sage, as he shook his grey locks, I kept all my limbs very supple. By the use of this ointment, 1 shilling the box. Allow me to sell you a couple. You are old, said the youth, and your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than suet. Yet you finished the goose with the bones and the beak. Pray, how did you manage to do it? In my youth, said his father, I took to the law and argued each case with my wife, and the muscular strength which it gave to my jaw has lasted the rest of my life. I'm not married, so I really can't talk about that whole marriage thing, but that's actually quite witty, right? Yeah. All you married people out there, you're like, yeah, you do a lot of arguing with your husbands and wives. I never wanted to get married. It was never the thing, never been engaged, and I don't have kids, but I digress. But now I'm reading to you, and that's enough. You are old, said the youth, one who would hardly suppose that your eye was as steady as ever. You balanced an eel on the end of your nose. What made you so awfully clever? I have answered 3 questions, and that is enough, said his father. Don't give yourself airs. Do you think I can listen all day to such stuff? Be off, or I'll kick you downstairs. That is not said right, said the caterpillar. Not quite right, I'm afraid, said Alice timidly. Some of the words have got altered. It is wrong from beginning to end, said the caterpillar decidedly, and there was silence for some minutes. The caterpillar was the first to speak.
"What size do you want to be?" it asked.
I'm not particular as to size," Alice hastily replied. "Only one doesn't like changing so often, you know."
"I don't know," said the caterpillar.
Alice said nothing. She had never been so much contradicted in her life before, and she felt that she was losing her temper.
"Are you content now?" said the caterpillar.
"Well, I should like to be a little larger, sir, if you wouldn't mind," said Alice. 3 inches is such a wretched height to be."
"It is a very good height indeed,"
said the caterpillar, angrily rearing itself upright as it spoke. It was exactly 3 inches high. Okay, why is he getting so persnickety? I mean, he's smoking a friggin' hookah. He's high on whatever he's high on, and he's getting nasty with this little girl. Ugh, again, she's always offending people. Oh, let me show you the picture. There he is with this hookah, which is almost as large as he is. And there is Alice. I've never smoked a hookah. Not gonna lie, I don't smoke anything. I haven't smoked in a long time, but I never smoked a hookah. Let's proceed. "But I'm not used to it," pleaded poor Alice in a piteous tone. And she thought to herself, God, I wish the creatures wouldn't be so easily offended.
"You'll get used to it in time," said the caterpillar,
and put the hookah into its mouth and began smoking again. This time Alice waited patiently until it chose to speak again. In a minute or two, the caterpillar took the hookah out of its mouth and yawned once or twice and shook itself. Then it got down off the mushroom and crawled away in the grass, merely remarking as it went,
"One side will make you grow taller, and the other side will make you grow shorter."
"One side of what? The other side of what?" thought Alice to herself.
"Of the mushroom," said the caterpillar,
just as if she had asked it aloud. And in another moment, it was out of sight. Alice remained looking thoughtfully at the mushroom for a minute, trying to make out which were the 2 sides of it. And as it was perfectly round, she found this a very difficult question. However, at last she stretched her arms around it as far as they would go and broke off a bit of the edge with each hand. Smart child, but everything's revolving around drugs. I know that it wasn't written from the point of drugs, but yes, I know that's like the whole tale is that Alice is totally on a trip. I mean, the St. Louis Carol was not on a trip when he wrote this, but we have a caterpillar smoking a hookah, and now we got Alice picking shit off of mushrooms. It means she gonna eat the mushroom, right? Okay. I never shroomed either. My roommates in college used to, but I never shroomed. Okay, and now which is which, she said to herself, and nibbled a little bit of the right hand bit to try the effect. The next moment, she felt a violent blow underneath the chin. It had struck her foot. She was a good deal frightened by this very sudden change, but she felt that there was no time to be lost as she was shrinking rapidly. So she set to work at once to eat some of the other bit. Her chin was pressed so closely against her foot that there was hardly room to open her mouth. But she did it at last and managed to swallow a morsel of the left hand bit. All right, you got to see this picture. Check it out. She looks like Mr. Potato Head. It's Alice Potato Head. Her feet are literally under her chin. All right, I think that's funny. "Come, my head's free at last," said Alice in a tone of delight, which changed into alarm in another moment, when she found that her shoulders were nowhere to be found. All she could see when she looked down was an immense length of neck, which seemed to rise like a stalk out of a sea of green leaves that lay far below her. "What can all that green stuff be?" said Alice. "And where have my shoulders got to? And oh, my poor hands, how is it I can't see you?" She was moving them about as she spoke, but no result seemed to follow, except a little shaking among the distant green leaves. As there seemed to be no chance of getting her hands up to her head, she tried to get her head down to them, and was delighted to find that her neck would bend about easily in any direction, like a serpent. She had just succeeded in curving it down into a graceful zigzag, and was going to dive in among the leaves, which she found to be nothing but the tops of the trees under which she had been wandering, when a sharp hiss made her draw back in a hurry. A large pigeon had flown into her face and was beating her violently with its wings. "Serpent!" screamed the pigeon. "I'm not a serpent," said Alice indignantly. "Let me alone." "Serpent, I say again," repeated the pigeon, but in a tone more subdued. and added with a kind of sob, "I've tried every way and nothing seems to suit them." "I haven't the least idea what you're talking about," said Alice. "I've tried the roots of trees, and I've tried banks, and I've tried hedges," the pigeon went on, without attending to her. "But those serpents, there's no pleasing them." Alice was more and more puzzled, but she thought there was no use in saying anything more till the pigeon had finished. Birds, pigeons. A lot of people don't like pigeons. I don't mind pigeons. I mean, I don't need to pet them or have them as a pet, and I definitely don't eat pigeons. But a lot of people get freaked out by pigeons, especially in Manhattan. I don't know. "As if it wasn't trouble enough hatching the eggs," said the pigeon, "but I must be on the lookout for serpents night and day. Why, I haven't had a wink of sleep these 3 weeks." "I'm very sorry you've been annoyed," said Alice, who was beginning to see its meaning. "And just as I'd taken the highest tree in the wood," continued the pigeon, raising its voice to a shriek, "and just as I was thinking I should be free of them at last, they must needs come wriggling down from the sky. Ugh, serpent!" "But I'm not a serpent, I tell you," said Alice. I'm a... Uh-oh. Are we back to the existential crisis that Alice does not know who she is? This is very thought-provoking, all of this, wondering who she is. She doesn't feel the same. She has changed. I mean, yes, she's changed physically, but obviously she's changing spiritually or emotionally or intellectually. Anyway, let's proceed. "Well, what are you?" said the pigeon. "I can see you're trying to invent something." I'm a little girl," said Alice rather doubtfully, as she remembered the number of changes she had gone through that day. "A likely story indeed," said the pigeon in a tone of the deepest contempt. "Contempt? I've seen a good many little girls in my time, but never one with such a neck as that. No, you're a serpent, and there's no use denying it. I suppose you'll be telling me next that you never tasted an egg." "I have tasted eggs, certainly," said Alice, who was a very truthful child. Appreciate that. She is a truthful kid. She hasn't lied since. Maybe offended a few people, but, she stands in her truth. She knows who she is. Appreciate it. "But little girls eat eggs quite as much as serpents do, "I don't believe it," said the pigeon. "But if they do, why then they're a kind of serpent. That's all I can say." This was such a new idea to Alice that she was quite silent for a minute or two, which gave the pigeon the opportunity of adding, "You're looking for eggs. I know that well enough. And what does it matter to me whether you're a little girl or a serpent?" "It matters a good deal to me," said Alice hastily, "but I'm not looking for eggs, as it happens. And if I was, I shouldn't want yours. I don't like them raw." "Well, be off then," said the pigeon in a sulky tone as it settled down again into its nest. Alice crouched down among the trees as well as she could, for her neck kept getting entangled among the branches, and every now and then she had to stop and untwist it. After a while she remembered that she still held the pieces of the mushrooms in her hands, and she set to work very carefully, nibbling first at one, then at the other, and growing sometimes taller and sometimes shorter, until she had succeeded in bringing herself down to her usual height. Wow, look at Alice. How smart is Alice that she can navigate shit like that? Here she's got she's actually learning the power of if I eat here, there, and going back and forth and getting shorter and taller. I'm impressed with Alice. I've been saying that this whole time, but the fact is this kid is just going along and she doesn't have the education, and this is not science. She's just doing it, and I love that she's just doing her own thing and she just don't give a shit. So good on you again, Alice. Good on you. Okay. It was so long since she had been anything near the right size that it felt quite strange at first. But she got used to it in a few minutes and began talking to herself. As usual, I talk to myself a lot. They say actually it's very healthy to talk to yourself. I think we've discussed this before. Very healthy. "Come, there's half my plan done now. How puzzling all these changes are. I'm never sure what I'm going to be from one minute to another. Trust me, Alice, I've been going through that for many years. However, I've got back to my right size. The next thing is to get into that beautiful garden. How is that to be done, I wonder?" And as she said this, she came suddenly upon an open place with a little house in it about 4 feet high. "Whoever lives there," thought Alice, "it'll never do to come upon them this size. Why, I should frighten them out of their wits." So she began nibbling at the right hand bit again, and did not venture to go near the house till she had brought herself down to 9 inches high. Look at that, Alice, sweet Alice. Okay. I just want to know, does getting high really make you that deep? I mean, in my old days when I got high, I don't remember ever being deep. Then I don't remember a lot of shit in the young days when I did shit. The hookah. Okay, the caterpillar. Interesting caterpillar. Interesting cat, you get it. But I digress. So, I do like where we're going with this. I'm enjoying the fact that Alice is learning how to adapt and change and talk to these different people, and she's going with the flow. But she still has the garden in her vision. You know what I mean? She still is going for the garden. She's going for the gold. You know what I mean? The gold. It's like, she can go the distance. That's from Hercules, the Disney movie. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite Disney cartoons. What I really love about it is that song, Michael Bolton, he sings it beautifully. It's not like I'm a huge fan of Michael Bolton, but that song, he sings beautifully. Michael Bolton, I can go the distance from Hercules. But I digress. Point is this. Alice is not being deterred. I mean, yes, maybe she's being held up a little bit, but she's going with the flow and she's not fighting it. And I think that's the whole point of the journey, right, of life, is to stop fighting shit, because things are always going to get in your way. People are going to get in your way. Instances are going to get in your way. Situations are going to crop up. And what do you got to do? You got to deal with them, man. You got to adapt. You got to change with it. You got to just work with it. Go with the flow and kind of just get through it, plod on through, and go for the next step. And I think that's what we're learning in this particular chapter. That Alice still has her eye on the prize, which I love. But she's also like, okay, I'm dealing with these people, I'm seeking out, and I'm taking a different path. Because what do they always say? This, the road to success, people think it's always like a straight line, but you look at people and it's like zigzag up and down. That's the point with Alice, I think, and the adventure. She wants to go to this garden. She's been talking about this garden for 5 freaking chapters, people. And all she does is want to get to this garden. It's kind of like us with our goals and our visions, right, and our dreams. We just want that one job or that one perfect relationship, which nothing is perfect. I mean, everything is where it should be. Or we want that one particular outcome to happen. And we don't control that crap. No, we don't. That's the point. The day you learn that you control nothing, because you don't. You know what? Let me give you a memo if you haven't received this already. You control nothing in life. The only thing you control is how you act and how you react. So shit's going to go down. Shit's going to happen. How are you going to react to it? So you can either react in a way of adapting to it and readjusting your sails and your course to get where you need to be, or you can be in a kerfuffle and get all like fakakta and all angry and all this other types of shit and get so in a haste or so like angry that you get all turned around that actually takes you further away from your goal. See, that's the point in life. It's about rolling with the punches. It's about just dealing with whatever's put before you, adapting to the situation, perhaps making some changes and evolving with it, and just growing, growing and going along with it, and knowing that this too shall pass. Like gas, it should always pass. So at the end of the day, I know we got our woo-woo on. I don't know if you're journaling. I'm going to encourage you, if you are journaling, to think about times that you faced adversity and what exactly you did. Did you go with it, or did you fight it, or did you try to force stuff? Because you know what? Stop forcing things. Don't force things in your life. Let it come to you. Do the work, though, and I think that's really important for all of us to understand that we have to do the work. I mean, you can't expect to sit there and be like, Om Shanti Shanti, I'm not going to force anything, and I'm just going to lay here like a slug or a caterpillar smoking the hookah and expect it to come to me. No. What I'm saying is do your visioning, do your work, do the steps necessary to take to where you want to be. And also you've got to trust, and also just understand that stuff's going to come in your way and deal with it. And stop screwing up your energy by getting all pissy about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know exactly what I'm saying. I'm talking to you. I am talking to you. So on that note, if you're journaling, journal about some stuff that you have faced in the past and how you dealt with it. And if you dealt with it and it worked out in the best, how it worked out for you. And maybe also think about the ways, and if you're not journaling, it's fine too. I always say it. I don't always journal. And think about ways that maybe you can deal with new things that crop up. Because shit's always going to happen. And you're not always going to have a hookah to smoke to calm you down. Okay, so on that note, I'm wishing you a great day, and I'm knowing and I'm hoping that I'll see you next time. Ciao! Arrivederci! Ci vediamo! Allora! Peace. Yes. Moving on. Moving right along. I can go the distance. I love that song. I think I need to listen to it now.